I want to be able to graph the sine graph and the cosine graph given the table. And the x's are going to be your thetas, your y's are going to be the numbers that you get when you evaluate the trig functions of those angles. So you have independent variable and dependent variable. If I look at the sine graph, first point is going to be 0, 0. The second point is equal to pi over 6, 1/2. So that means it's going to be about here. And pi over 4, actually that means it's going to be higher at about 1/2. The next one is going to be pi over 4, which is halfway, and it's going to give you a little bit more. And pi over 3, a little bit more. And then at pi over 2, it's equal to 1. So I know for sure that this is going to go up. It's going to rise faster, and then it's going to get a little bit slower as you get off to the top. And so this line is a curved line that looks something like that in the first quadrant. If I look at the cosine, 0, 1 is your first point, and then you have those 3 points again. Pi over 4 is halfway. Pi over 3 is going to be halfway. So that means that it's going to look like this, because the cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. And then the other ones are just up a bit from those, and therefore this is going to look like this. Now, what you have to remember in order to graphing the trig functions is this. The sine graph is going to be start in the middle and go up as you start in the middle and go up. The cosine is going to be start on the top and go down. And we're going to use these as we get to more complicated graphs. And this is just the first quadrant to pi over 2. But this would continue in this fashion, such as what we see here. Notice that the sine graph starts at 0 and goes up, and now it's going to go back down, and it's going to continue that. And the cosine starts at 1 and goes down and continues in that fashion. You need to memorize the sine and cosine graphs. Notice that both of them complete one cycle in 2 pi units, and then it's going to start the cycle again. If you look at the cosine graph, here to here are different y's, and then all of a sudden here we're going to start repeating the y's. So 2 pi would be the period for those 2 graphs. That's how you graph the sine and cosine graph using the table.